Hi, welcome to Elephant in the Room, short adventures in geography designed to make you think. You may have heard of something called the prisoner's dilemma. It's like a little thought experiment that came out of game theory and the Cold War, and it's about how two players who can't quite trust each other might behave when they have to do something together. And it's a situation that we bump into all the time, like how do you behave on a date, or whether you need to keep a gun in the house for protection, or when countries have to work together to reduce their carbon dioxide emissions. It's all about trust. So in the prisoner's dilemma, these two prisoners have a choice. They can either keep quiet and not admit what they did, and then both get low sentences. Or one could get off scot-free by blaming it all on the other one, who ends up with a long sentence. But if they both blame each other, they both get medium sentences. So what do you do? Do you keep quiet or blame the other one? Well, the best thing overall is for both of you to keep quiet and get the lightest sentences. But what if you can't trust the other one? If you keep quiet, but the other one blames you, you end up with the long sentence and they get off scot-free. So the rational thing to do is distrust the other one and blame them. That way, if they stay quiet, you'll get off scot-free instead of get the light sentence, or if they blame you, you'll get the medium sentence instead of the long one. So it makes sense to distrust the other guy and blame them. And where you both blame each other and both get the medium sentence, that's called the Nash Equilibrium, seemingly the most rational outcome of the game. The interesting thing about this is that when psychologists do this experiment for real, it doesn't quite work out that way. It seems people don't behave entirely rationally. Both players tend to hope for the best and give each other the benefit of the doubt, and both keep quiet and get the lightest sentences. And when you run the game over and over again, this keeps happening until one betrays the other. And then things escalate, and it goes all tit for tat, and both people get longer in prison overall. To put it another way, let's think about that date situation. You can either stay all cool and come across like you don't care, or you can show the other one you really like them. If you both show you really like the other one, that's great. But if you show that you really like the other one, but they just stay all cool, it could be embarrassing. So staying cool is probably the safest, most rational thing to do. But if you both stay cool, the Nash Equilibrium, nothing's going to happen. It's a similar thing with reducing carbon dioxide emissions. If you reduce your emissions but someone else doesn't, then they benefit from your reductions and maybe even feel they can emit a bit more. So the rational Nash Equilibrium here is for everyone to avoid reducing their emissions, even though that's probably the worst outcome. The thing is, though, in the real world, people don't automatically betray each other, and they do go on dates and sometimes get it together, and even that countries are at least starting to make commitments to reduce their carbon dioxide emissions. So what's this apparently irrational behaviour telling us? Well, it's telling us that we're a bit more optimistic and trustful and neighbourly than the totally rational people in economic models and politics and other theoretical games. We tend to take the chance and make the effort to trust each other more than is purely rational. And that is a very good thing. It means that things generally work out better for us than they do for these rational people with their Nash Equilibrium. Even so, some people consider trusting others irrational, and they risk ending up with no girlfriend or boyfriend, and with lots of guns in circulation, and maybe withdrawing from the Paris Agreement and so on. But there's an element of self-fulfilling prophecy about all that distrust, isn't there? And this seems to be something that most people understand perfectly well. Perhaps we naturally regard the situations we're in as shared situations instead of just individual ones. And in terms of better overall outcomes, generally trusting people works out more rational than automatically distrusting each other. So there we are. Maybe being more positive about each other and what we're all up to is really the most rational and beneficial direction we can go in. Who do you automatically distrust? Are you sure you're being realistic about them? Thanks for listening. See you next time.